The truth is shocking. It is shocking. We continue raising topics to bring you to clarity. Put your finger on the magic and the esoteric loses its power. Unravel superstition and find natural reality. It is not to cast aspersions on any group or person. We simply show you higher understandings by pointing to examples in the world around you. There are examples in the societal system and in the English language, and we highlight some of them in order to remove your doubts. We can prove that the English language was crafted for mind spelling to hand humans lower vibratory mindsets, compatible for soulless servitude. The English language serves, in many words, for deliberate zombification of the human herd. They are herded as sheep and they are shepherded by their masters. Stick a pin right here. Remove the obstacle. Embrace the valid thought that it is important to be logical instead of emotion driven. Any fear of blasphemy is sorcery, blasphemous in itself, blaspheming the righteous will to be and that of the critical mind. This is basic sorcery. It removes options of personal autonomy from the person, leaving him with only the choice to choose subjection. I will trigger this reaction when I talk to someone about a predator god. It will always be triggered. I might as well warn in advance. If you are under this spell, it will matter not that I am telling the truth. If you are under this spell, you will rather choose denial above logic. So now, let me say it without an ounce of reservation. It is foolish not to question God when you claim that He knows everything. Any God that sees His servants as sheep is a predator. I said it, and you might believe that it's contradictable. Well, follow this channel and see a predator unveiled before your eyes. If you have a God that asks you for a human sacrifice to sacrifice the Son of Man or to take any part in it, He will come to meet a higher God in you. You shall come to know your greatness, and you will be His judge on Judgment Day. A goat herder claims that he loves his goats and he leads them to green pastures. As I said, the perfect truth. Wisdom cannot deny it. I said the perfect truth. Wisdom cannot deny it. Emotions are not valid points. Truth has no regard for sentiments. It matters not how you feel about it. You may not like to agree with it, but it remains unquestionable. You must stop choosing for the sake of hiding from fear. Stop choosing because of your fear. If God is your father, then you will not be his sheep. He will not be your shepherd. You will be instead the young shepherd. A shepherd's son is not the sheep. Did you hear me? If God is your father, then before him must you not bow to pray and beg. Do your children bow before you? What of the meaning of as above, so below? Those that bow before authority are subject praise before their predators. Are subject preys before their predators. And this is what it means to pray before God, literally. That even when they call for sacrifice, they will tell you to go willingly. You bow, subject, and be the prey, always to verify that you remain in subjection. And there will be no revolt. You do not even think to revolt at this time. Zombies don't revolt. Zombies don't revolt. It is easier to resurrect the dead from death than to raise the living from the dead. We were sent to speak to our brothers about life when they choose to hold desperately to death. Our faith could not be in you. No, we could have no faith in you, or we would not come. Our faith is in our God, and it is no shepherd of man. It is no shepherd of man. To cast out adverse societal demons, we must present a clear picture of the secret science of sorcery. We must find to where it is at, and we must be determined in our purpose to set the captives free. They have had their say. Now it's our time, and we have not said much. There must be no intention from anyone or any entity to consider stopping us. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. A demon might be created by words through spelling. We will explain spelling later in these videos. To create a demon, you impose legions of ideas or thought processes in a network to the degree of a persona to the mindset of the individual or populace. It is now a cult, active in the mind of the subject. It operates as a living, determining entity. It becomes a demonic possession, having its own determining will. I spoke briefly about a simple intrusive demon concept in my last video. In order to move forward with ease, let me remind you, my listeners, demon casting can be done systemically by embedding the processes inside of the social fabric. Understand that the societal system itself is a living God force created of spirit. It is the rock that is higher than the people. It is, in fact, God to the people, the societal system. That spiritual edifice is, in fact, the God to the people. If adverse sorcery were to be authorized, there would have to be spiritual ill will in government. Our inside trustees with hidden agendas would have to be like underhanded, right? It is hard to believe that some third party organization is undermining the world paradigm and governments know nothing about it. Whatever it is, we are not here to speculate. We simply present the facts as they appear. School syllabuses are systemic and mandatory orders that the educator must pass on to the students. These lessons are taught out by trusted individuals that swore to serve the people. If the teacher in a mixed race class tells the students the black people of India are the aboriginals, what would it mean to you? Whatever it means to you, it will not mean the same for the child of the other race in a mixed class. Whatever race you are, it will not mean the same to the child of the other race. When we talk about spelling, we will explain subtle means that may be used to prefix words and cause adverse energies to attach to them. We can even speak words that speak different to different parties simultaneously. And we will get into even that and how these things, we will find examples of how this sorcery is embedded in the societal system. We will talk about prefixes and consonants in spelling for reasons of sorcery. Keep in mind that every prefix or consonant is an idea. A prefix is predefining a meaning. You possess I said predefining a meaning. Let me put it this way. A prefix is predefining the outcome of a definition. You possess a free will, but as great as your mind is, it is made up to its highest expanse of simple spells exactly like these prefixes and consonants. It is the intercourse of ideas that give you the critical mind. You can create a complete mind persona and use it to possess or demonize a subject. A cult, hmm? A cult is a persona. A cult, like Christianity, is a persona. The only way to be changed in the twinkle of an eye is to take a cult. It is a complete operating mind determining system. Moreover, it will be a living spirit being, and it will be easy to do as long as you can get him to be dependent upon you for definitions. As long as you can get someone to be dependent upon you for definitions, you can cultivate his mind. You can make someone dependent for definition wherever you can convince him that the truth is impossible for him to grasp by his own understanding. In other words, you give power to the esoteric by prescribing to him a subject mind and convincing him to accept it. In the word aboriginals, the prefix ab means away from. The word abhor means to detest or to loathe. And if you look, you might see that word. Look at the word aboriginals again and tell me if the word abhor is not in it. It is there, ABHOR. We will spell it, but ABOR is good enough. And we repeat, the word abhor means to detest or loathe. As much as consonants and prefixes might all seem harmless at face value, speech and language is based on reckoning. Reckoning has various levels and degrees that transcend both conscious and subconscious realms. Every word that speaks to the conscious mind also speaks to the conscious. Every word that speaks to the conscious mind also speaks to the subconscious. That is what I should say, right? However, there are subtle differences between how conscious and subconscious minds interpret information. One main thing to note is that the subconscious mind is hypersensitive. Maybe if I did not point out the word abhor, concealed as a prefixed word that could stigmatize the meaning of the speaker, you would not even notice. However, it is not so with the hypersensitive subconscious mind. It will always notice. It will always notice on its dimension. In this subconscious realm, our manifestations are ordered. Consciously, all the students in the class hear that the black folks are the original of India. However, it will be wired in the black child's subconscious that he is the abhorrent original. The white child will hear that he should abhor the originals. When someone asks a white child that becomes racially biased why he hates black children, he will say, I don't know, I just hate them. He will be treated in a harsh way, as if he brought this spell upon himself. This is not entirely true. Neither is it just an isolated case. The entire English language and every word that matters is stigmatized with intrusive demon spell words that will cause you to vibrate at very low frequencies by powerful energies that become living demon cults in the body of an individual. I am not just saying words that I cannot substantiate. All the explanations that are so many will come over time. Follow me by pressing the bell icon so that you will receive notification as I add new videos. Thanks to all those that hit the like button for me. Just because of the imposed fear spells, the mind might become desperate to believe that the points we raise are coincidences, or that the powers that be could never be so underhanded. There is no such thing as a perpetual series of coincidences. The formulas that prove the sorcery are geared to see, and they are perfectly executed beyond any question of chance. We do not accuse anyone for being responsible for deliberate spells of malevolent sorcery to the societal template. We simply unveil and point out very evil sorcery which is not desirable in the societal template. I am not pointing at anyone for making the English language deliberately crafted for sorcery to cultivate and maintain a passive mediocre mass mindset. I am simply pointing out with no fear of contradiction whatsoever that the English language is undoubtedly and deliberately made as a mind trap for disempowering souls and making them the slaves. This is what I am saying. There is not a single living human or other intelligent entity that will contradict this. Where there might be culpability is not my point of concern. Whoever is concerned with that point of revelations will come to you in his own time. My work is too much to compound with other people's work. I am only here to break spells, not to blame them on their creators. Let us not start a controversy over clear and simple kindergarten sciences that ancients whom you claimed had no knowledge were teaching thousands of years ago. Pythagoras' theorem is a mathematical formula. Do you believe that if a mathematician sees this formula demonstrated in use, he could identify it? Yes, sure he could. And yes, we presently identify the use of the divine sciences being put to very evil. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. I am making short videos. Each will carry not too much to think about. Think about the little I say in each one. This is not magic. Magic does not exist. Science alone performs the supernatural. An airplane was magic before the natural realities in its creation was understood. It is still the supernatural, but only not magic anymore. Pythagoras' theorem is witchcraft. I want to tell you something about witchcraft. Witchcraft is science. A witch is a person like Tesla who enters the divine realm to discover wisdoms of manifestations that he could use to intervene and affect the human realm in a positive or negative way. This is what your leaders mean when they talk about divine intervention. Your son, the young inventor, is a wizard. Your cousin, the scientist, is a witch. There is no difference whatsoever. The difference is just that these great light bearers were stigmatized in the past so that a few could steal all the knowledge, turn it into the esoteric, and rule the many as gods above them. You might believe that you are smart, having all your own ideas, but maybe you do not know that your mindset was crafted in a conventional template. What does something look like when it comes out of a mold? You have limited thought processes and you are not allowed clarity on certain others. You are limited to vocabulary. Without a higher order of defining principles, without a higher vocabulary, you stagnate at a lower degree. Therefore, I do not have to read your mind to know your mind. I do not have to read your mind to know your thoughts. I do not have to read your mind to know what you know and what you don't know, what you will say and what you won't say. Once you begin to speak, I can identify your template that you will be defined by, and I will know all your possibilities or what conclusions you will come to know because I know the mold. You are afforded only ready done conclusions. The effect, all the effects of your vocabulary are fixed and predetermined. Let me show you these terrible things because they must be seen. Accept the great existential power on display. Be patient and let me spark topics that will open your mind just enough at a time. Can you see that an atheist and a Christian believe in exactly the same things in general? If you tell me that this is easy for you to discern, I will be most pleasantly surprised. You are given the same disguised as opposites. You will believe you have your own thoughts and conclusions. You will be enslaved but think you are free. Stop surrendering your souls to vampire demons that feast on human energy. It is time to let them go away. They tabooed and destroyed the light bearers, all who had scientific wisdom or engaged in studies of perpetual motion. They launched a perpetual witch hunt to make sure no one was left to educate the people outside of themselves. The truth is in your DNA. These words will resonate with those that really listen. It is in your blood. Listen good and you will feel the hair stand tall on your skin. It is the words that you missed, compatible to your own being. You will rise, my God and King. You will rise, our goddess and empress. The warm energy embrace up your spine is not because I speak, it is because I speak words that you know that you forgot to speak for yourself, so speak them. There are many trick words in the English language that have absolutely no meaning. They con you into using them as illusionary logic to substitute fake relevance for true relevance. By using them, you make seemingly valid points to verify or support a straightforward lie or a non-issue. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. We can tell you about you and where your thoughts were formed. Let us pluck demons out of human souls before their very eyes. I am not here for controversy. I am here so that the people will again be their own sovereign. You cannot build societies by economics. You build human societies by affording humans the freedom to build advanced mindsets. 9 times out of 10, these powerful gods will exceed your expectations, and you know that this is true. Let God arise and let the dark demons scatter. The word homosexual has a very clear meaning. It will rightfully be interpreted as someone who has sexual feelings for the same sex. Everything is clear up to this point. Please note, this is not a debate about sexual preferences. It is simply to show an example of a meaningless word that will trick you to perceive logic in it. Now, here is where someone uses sorcery to trick the human thought process. The word homophobia is an illusionary word crafted in order to cheat a debate. It has no meaning whatsoever, but only to trick the perception. By bringing authority to this word and then stigmatizing it as an adverse issue, blamable to heterosexuals, an intrusive demon concept enters the heterosexual consciousness or his subconsciousness and makes him feel guilt in his own natural character. Hmm? He becomes guilty for who he is. If you can observe and see for yourself, my life would be much easier. Your mind is tricked into believing you logically conceived true reason to it. Have you ever heard the word heterophobia before? Follow this channel and in one of my coming videos you will see what this intention is, how it is crafted and how it works. The sciences that you learn in school are minor ones. You are not learning the divine sciences. They have not afforded you the science of the gods. DNA memory rituals are embedded in the world government systems and in the Christian religion. These spells are holding the entire black race hostage. And I have to speak about the black race because they are the ones that are deeply held in hostage. They are the like set as a different class because they are more of a threat to what I will call the established demigod system, which is not a race. Mind you, I repeat, it is not a race. These spells are holding the entire black race hostage. You call it a god spell. Well, you don't call it a God spell. You said gospel. You don't even say God spell. But we know what you mean. And I would like to describe it. The white race believe that they are the most protected, but it is the exact opposite. I hope I will get to revealing this clarity soon. These are nothing strange to us. They are lessons we knew for thousands of years. You need not believe. Just take a critical view and the point will never miss you. Our relationship to the universe is similar to that of a computer to the internet. In these scientific secrets rests the true value of Superman. You can cast a perpetual spell to the cosmic that renews itself every, let's say, 500 years, for example. You can cast a delayed spell that will activate itself after a natural cosmic event in like 2000 years. This is not magic. It is not a miracle. It is simply based on science that in ignorance many try to explain in superstitious ways, including as religion. It is possible to set a spell in the cosmic using music, blood rituals, and perpetual motion to cause a new Messiah to rise in the next 1,000 years. You can put your will and memories inside of him before he was conceived in a uterus, and as his ancestor, you will be God in him. He will say that God inspired him to do what he will do. The ancestors knew him and gave him purpose even before he was born. In the same way as the web works, the information will be prefixed to perpetual motion. Yes, this is spelling. And just like in the English alphabet, you use the prefix in the universe with the cosmic, and by perpetual motion, we use alphabets to make spells and prefixes to attach or place stigma into words or concepts. It will be downloaded to this individual 1,000 years later at the trigger of a cosmic event. It will be downloaded to this individual 1,000 years later at the trigger of a cosmic event, at the hearing of a word often repeated, at the beating of a drum, or at the singing of a song. Hmm? It is not a miracle, it is not magic. It is pure science that we must come just a bit more evolved in order to grasp. The ancients understood them well, but we say we are the modern enlightened progeny. It is not a fantasy. It is children of great gods becoming the great gods, greater progenies. Gods do not stay put. They challenge themselves everlastingly, and this is why we are here. The stagnating events must cease so that you will again become as great as you are. If your culture is not allowed to continue through perpetual motion, you will be short of future triggers in the form of intrinsic rituals and words often repeated. These ensure the future success of this Messiah being ritualized and activated by common doings. As demigods try to complete investigations into useless sciences that they perpetuate to keep them above the human gods, we speak love into the ears of our love child. All breaches upon the divine plane will fail, and we are also here to inform you. All breaches upon the divine plane will fail. All breaches upon the divine plane will fail. The difference between a king and a god is that the king is a mere political ruler, but the god amassed wisdom to rule mass destinies and determine the human outcome. But demigods only thrive if the masses are passive and subjective. This is their reason to create the passive mediocre mindset. The humans are zombified without knowing it. They will awake. I am asking all parties to press the like button and the bell icon before you leave. Peace out.